Well, good evening, folks. Welcome on into the Pegasus Sexual Podcast. I, of course, am Supreme Heretic, and as usual, every Thursday, I'm joined by my dearest friend, Brightest Day, Zach, failed basic flight. Also, the wonderful, sassy Southern Belle, and equally one of my dearest friends, Arwen Avalon, and we're very happy to be with you tonight. Um, like I put in the chat, guys, I do apologize if it seems like I'm not entirely with it. My mind's bouncing around everywhere. I've been admittedly kind of a stressed mess. Latest update on my mom. There is some concerning things happening. She is in good spirits, but I don't think they're going to let her out of the hospital until probably at least Saturday. I was hoping for tomorrow, but from what I've heard and what's going on, yeah. And when I visited with her most of the day, I could see why they're concerned. Her blood pressure is bouncing all up and down, and that's a concern. And also, she's having some struggles with her kidneys, and they're very concerned about that right now. So that's where we stand. That's the latest report that I have. With obviously without going into the super duper medical words and the details, but that's what's going on. So just keep the prayers coming, and I do appreciate all the prayers and the support, and just thank you guys. As I said in chat, to all of you, I appreciate you and I love you from the bottom of my heart. So, all right. That being said, I want to, how are you? Arwen, Zach, how are you guys?
I'm well, sir, and I feel for you. My thoughts are with you.
Yeah, I agree. I'm good, but I'm concerned about you and your mom.
Yeah,
Y'all are definitely in my thoughts and my prayers. Truly.
Yeah, and I'm, and these guys are so awesome. I mean, to pull back the curtain from behind the scenes, just both Arwen and Zach, they are there for me online and offline, and I can't tell you folks in the chat how amazing these two human beings are, and they truly are good, the best of the best kind of people. So I just wanted to say that because I am proud to call these folks just friends that I'll have till the day that I meet the good Lord.
So say we all.
Absolutely. So say we all.
You're gonna make me cry. Stop.
So the episode we have tonight, it's season 2. Here we go. Sorry. Season 4, episode 2, and it's entitled 6 of 1. And some interesting things happen in this episode. I know at the beginning, it goes absolutely I think we jump into pretty just crazy, harrowing situations at the beginning, if I remember this episode right. Because so if you Dave Bob, condolences, man, and thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. You guys are amazing. Wake, it's good to see you, buddy. Jess, MB Geek, good to see you, man. Shane, thank you. Stephen Thompson, Captain James D. Skywalker, Thank you so much for tuning in this evening and being here. I just really appreciate it. Jorge, Lazy Otter Productions, my formerly abounding into comics and one of my best friends. Good to see you, Jorge. Um, and of course, Macklin. Thank you so much for making it. You did made it, dear. I appreciate it. So thank you so much. But yeah, the this episode is really cool. I'll just let Zach kind of take it away because I don't want to like start incoherently rambling because I'm not the president. Oops, I didn't say that out loud.
Of course, sir. Relax. As Drew mentioned, this is Season 4, Episode 2, entitled 6 of 1. Please smash the like button and subscribe if you have not, and enjoy. The episode opens with Ty, Hilo, and a squad of Marines marching toward Adama's quarters, where Kara has herself and Rosalind shut in. At gunpoint, Kara berates Rosalind for not placing the same trust in her that she did in Laura's vision, which led them to the Arrow of Apollo and the Tomb of Athena. She hands Laura the handgun, telling her to pull the trigger if she truly believes her to be a Cylon. Rosalind fires, but succeeds only in hitting a photograph of her and Adama. The shot prompts the Marines to breach and subdue Starbuck, as she continues to plead her conviction about losing her way to Earth the more jumps they make. Adama confines her to the brig, kicking and screaming the entire way. After the opening credits, we see the silent dance of Cavil's Cylon base star in space, and the mysterious musings of its hybrid, including the phrases, "Rise and measure, the Temple of the Five," and "They will not harm their own." Elsewhere on the ship, a scantily clad 8 performs her own silent dance in front of Cavil.
Not gonna lie, I kind of at the time when this episode aired, when that scene was on, I may have wished that I had a DVR at that moment. with
Thank God for Blu-ray, huh?
with the scantily clad 8, but I mean, it is what it is. Real quick to address the comments from the chat so far. Starbuck got a little handsy, didn't she? Yeah, she did. She kind of stormed in and held Rosalind at gunpoint. And Shane, yeah, I thought that Kara had a point, and we'll get into that here in a second as soon as we take our break to discuss the first few scenes. But Kara did have a point. I feel like she did. But go ahead, Zach. Continue.
So, fair warning, I do not have any delineated breaks in the script, so feel free to stop me whenever you want.
Okay.
A meeting between several skin jobs and the aforementioned Cavil reveals that they have determined the final 5 to be among the fleet from the musings of the hybrid, which is why the attack in the previous episode was halted suddenly. Cavil admonishes them for talking openly about the 5, claiming it to be blasphemous against their initial programming. An executive decision is lobbied to dumb down and lobotomize the raiders to prevent them from repeating what happened. Under the 6's insistence, the issue is put to a vote. Back on Galactica, the Secret Four have another clandestine meeting, discussing the events of the evening. Tori Foster is aware that there is still one Cylon missing, and when Tyrrell brings up Baltar's actions in the Temple of Five, suggesting that he might know something about the final Cylon or them. Noting that Baltar has a weakness for the opposite sex and has had relations with a Cylon, Ty suggests that Tori get closer to Baltar, about which she is less than enthusiastic.
her reaction,
For now.
her reaction was priceless. She's like, "You want me to do what?"
Ew.
Basically, yeah. So we can stop there, but yeah, unpacking what we've seen so far, it's just like I feel like Kara had a point. I really do because
Mm-hmm.
and it's like she put it right out there where essentially it was, I supported you when we were just rolling on your crazy vision, and you can't support me when we're rolling on my intuition. So what, how are you, where's the respect here? I
Mm-hmm.
respected you enough to check it out, go and follow through. And she expected the same out of Rosalind. Rosalind threw her under the bus. I mean, Rosalind right now is just so unlikable to me. It's not even funny. Um,
I agree. I
and
totally
be,
agree.
yeah, and hail to Scott Murphy. Thank you for being here, sir. And yeah, Shane, the eight. I'm not upset about that. I am
To
not
be
upset
fair,
about that.
to be
You
fair, she
know,
was only topless.
Grace Park doing topless Tai Chi. That's a win in my book.
So that is something I've noticed about this episode in particular. It is particularly more fan servicey than several episodes have been.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
and that's good because they kind of because I kind of like the fact that a show does that for the fans, and it's good. It's good that happens. And hail to our boy Roof Korean the bass, Tony. Much love, brother. Good to see you. Um, Tony
You want me to
brings
read
us
it?
one a great boxy theory. Yeah, Zach, why don't you take it away?
Boxy theory number 3020. Boxy, in a final act of revenge of being sidelined in season 4, had secretly switched the coffee on board Galactica to decaf. Starbuck was convinced it was Rosalind.
Nice, Tony. Nice. Oh man, the
What's
box.
interesting to me about Rosalind here is she is shook.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
for a while we've been seeing strong Rosalind. We've been seeing, in Adama's ear Rosalind. We've been seeing, to hell with the Cylons Rosalind. And we see her, she is just terrified of what Starbuck's going to do because she's out of control. All this time, she has been in control. I mean, she pretty much has, she has Adama's ear. I don't want to say he's in her pocket, but for all intents and purposes, he kind of is at this point. He's trusting her. He's trusting her instinct above his own. And it's just her and Starbuck. And Starbuck is like, I'm not having this. You are going to listen to me. And of course, she's
Well,
got the gun on her, and she's out of control. She has got no semblance
well, the
of
pro.
what to do right now.
Well, the problem is, she understands that judgment is clouded right now. He's
Mm-hmm.
essentially, and look, guys, we've all had this happen, and we can understand from the male perspective. It's easy to have your judgment clouded when you're in a relationship, and you sit there and you're so like awash in the relationship and into the other person. Well, it's just like you kind of fall into the pattern at times of being like the yes man for everything they want, and it's like it takes some time for the honeymoon phase to go away before you snap to it and realize, okay, I need to find my balls.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
that can happen. And trust me, I know that from the male perspective. I've had it happen before because you're all like ooey gooey lovey dovey and at the beginning, and you really aren't thinking clearly in a lot of things.
And
And
to be fair, he's having someone share his burden.
mhm.
He's been kind of a lone wolf all this time. I mean, I know he's had his command staff and he's had Apollo, and I mean, he's had people with him, But that relationship between a man and a woman, that intimacy, it is different
Mm-hmm.
than other relationships. It is special. It is unique. I mean, they're helpmeets for each other. So, in fairness to him, I can see him kind of just saying, "Okay, phew, I can kind of rest my brain a little bit because here's someone on my side who knows what's going on."
But at the same time, the objectivity is lost
Oh
because
yeah,
they're so into each other,
I agree.
and that's the thing. And like Dave Bob said, and Kara, and to be fair, Dave Bob, Kara goes, you think I'm a Cylon, pull the trigger, and
Yes.
and predictably Rosalind has bad aim. So it was like, okay, well,
I disagree. I think she missed on purpose.
okay,
Do
fair
you
enough.
really?
I do.
Why do you think that? That's interesting.
Well, so the only other explanation is to chalk it up to Deus Ex. The point blank range, even the worst shot could hit what they're aiming at.
Well, yeah, that's true.
And even with Rosalind being on her Deloxin treatments, that range you'd have to try to miss. The fact that
That's
she
true.
pulls out a photograph is a little bit more impressive, but
Mm-hmm.
What's her
I think she missed
motivation
on
to
purpose.
miss?
Not to be a killer, because I don't. Up until now, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe she has any direct blood on her hands.
No, you're right. You're right.
She
I
doesn't.
think
Yeah.
having not crossed that line, even being invited to, is probably still something that would give someone pause.
Well, technically, if you want to say airlockingly open, she technically does.
But you're still kind of detached from that. Pulling the trigger, I imagine, and any veterans that have seen combat can prove me right or wrong, would probably be different than pressing a button from 10, 15, 20 feet away.
And I'm so happy, by the way, to see Darius. Darius, man, that's great to see you, buddy.
Hey, Darius.
And same thing with Tehillim. Thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate it.
Why
But,
shoot Dave Bob? To prove a point. To
Yeah.
prove a point that she's still not to be trifled with.
To restore her power.
Yeah.
Say, well, you give me a gun. I mean that I can see that. That kind of makes sense. I'm not sold out that she didn't miss, but at the same time, that's interesting. I really need to chew on that because it could be a way for her to say, I'm still in charge here.
See, Shane brings
You're not in
up
charge.
New
It's a theory.
Caprica.
I'm willing to admit it might be wrong, but
Yeah, see, Shane brings
That's
up New Caprica if perhaps she had some blood on her hands there.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the way I saw that scene. I didn't see, again, if she wanted to make sure she hit, she could have taken a step forward. Kara was offering zero resistance whatsoever. She could have put the gun directly against her chest and pulled the trigger if she really wanted to.
And you see Kara's desperation in this scene. This is one of my favorite Starbuck moments.
Mm-hmm.
You see who she is to the bare bones. She's like, I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes, but I love these people and I will die for them. I will do anything I can, including pointing a gun at you, because you don't understand. And I just love this scene with her.
Well, yeah, because you can clearly see, before you go on, Zach, you can clearly see that she feels like this is like the most right of right things that she's ever felt in her life. Mm-hmm. So, she's 100% sure about it. And she's desperate to prove that, she's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a great scene.
Which leads into the point I was about to make, in that Adama, Rosalind, and Kara are all suffering the same stress at this moment. And it's the same stress that we as the audience in this season are feeling. They are running out of time. They all know it. They all have, and we will learn certain things later on that explain why Rosalind feels she's running out of time. But it's like, we have to find Earth. We don't have much time left, neither in in their real time or in the season itself. The only thing they differ on is what direction to go.
Mm-hmm.
And neither one of them is budging.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. The sense of exploration is over. Now it's urgency. Now it's we have to act. We're done fooling around with this.
Yeah. urgency urgency has kicked in for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead. We'll get Ruth Korean's comment real quick. Ruth Korean says, "I can assure you, it's very different at distance until you have to clear a building after an encounter. You have to end things where people too far gone. It really takes a hit on the soul, man. I can just imagine Tony. Because Tony's a former vet. He served, and yeah,
some Rosalind's not a soldier, despite everything she's been through.
Yeah,
not a soldier. So I'll continue on now.
Yeah, Dave Bob, same. When I
Mm-hmm.
got my training with the pistol, and that's the first thing that the instructor said: don't point a gun or don't draw unless you plan to shoot,
Yep.
Plan to kill, essentially.
Dave Bob, I'm with you. My husband taught.
I'm
Matter of
old
fact,
school.
I inherited several guns from him. I can't use them. I wish we had been able. He wanted to teach me how to use them, and I wish we'd been able to do that before he passed. But that's what he told me. He was like, "You never point a gun at someone unless you are going and willing to pull that trigger." He said because they could get it from
100%.
you, and it's over. So
Always
yeah,
treat it as though it's loaded. Never
yes,
point it at what you don't want to destroy. Keep your finger off the
yes,
trigger until you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yep. Trigger discipline.
And shoot to stop, not to kill.
Well, center mass, bro.
Yeah. Well, remember, it's to stop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna continue on before we get too much sidetracked.
Godzillionaire's here. Wait, hail Godzillionaire. Great to see you, buddy.
I said,
man, yeah. I'm happy to see you, my friend. So, hail to you. All right, go ahead, Zach. Sorry, not going to derail you this time.
Adama visits Kara in the brig, being enraged at what she's just done, and tells her that she was stupid enough to alienate the one person who may have believed her. She again repeats that she has a physical need, an instinct to return to Earth. When she teases Adama about being Rosalind's wet nurse and not having the guts to hold on, he grabs her and throws her on the floor, and storms out. Back on the base star, the vote is in. The 1s, 4s, and 5s vote in favor of reconfiguration, with the 2s, 6s, and 8s voting against. The apparent stalemate is broken by Sharon Valeri, who votes in favor of the lobotomy. The 6 accuses Cavill of having influenced Valeri, shocked by a Cylon voting against her model, something which has never happened before. She warns vehemently against it, but her pleas fall on deaf ears. In Galactica's pilot's rec room, several pilots are playing a game of strip triad, as the commander and the rest party, while Hilo pours several shots of ambrosia. Pilot Narco calls for Lee to hold a speech for his retirement. Lee makes several toasts. To Galactica, to the men and women of Galactica, to his father, who commands the men and women of Galactica, to their loved ones, each in tune with knocking back one of the poured shots. When he toasts to absent friends, his father's eyes are drawn to a picture of Kara. Later, in his stateroom, the commander sits before his now rebuilt model ship, from which he plucks the figurehead, the goddess Aurora. Elsewhere, in a civilian mess hall, Gaius breaks from his doting cult to join Tori Foster at her table, accusing her of spying on him. As the two converse, Gaius is visited not by his 6, but by a manifestation of himself in a pinstripe suit. He guides himself to find out Foster's intentions. Tori pretends to be interested in Baltar due to his reversal of fortune in his trial and the miracles that appear to happen all around him. Baltar posits that the one god has chosen him to sing his song, using metaphors that make Tori think of her activation as a Cylon and the music she heard. She gets up and leaves, slightly disturbed. And Baltar wonders if this manifestation of himself is 6 in disguise, before the two discuss how to proceed.
Can we stop here for a minute?
I kind of figured you'd want to.
The Cylons. Oh my gosh. I love the whole thing that's playing out with their votes and Cavill, losing his goo. No, the 5 aren't there. It's forbidden to talk about them, blah, blah, blah. But what's really interesting is during the vote, you can really start to see their structure breaking down. And, they think they're above us. They think they're better than us. But this is the scene you really see where, they were technically created in our image, so they are becoming us. Despite their, perceived uniqueness, and they keep coming back to how unique they are and blah, blah, blah. It's their conformity that kept them together. And now that that's breaking, they are basically becoming very human. They're starting to bicker. They're starting to not trust each other. Cavill's just playing dictator. It's all what he wants. And he's kind of manipulating and moving, he's moving all the pieces and he thinks he has everything in control. And 6 is like, I'm not having this. It's such a beautiful to see it all play out. I love it. I love the Cylons at this point.
Right. It's very rare. We get an in-depth glance at Cylon politics, which is essentially what this is. And
yeah. The inner workings of it is so fascinating. That's one of the cool things about this episode. It's just like wow, holy shit, I did not see that coming. And it's kind of interesting, very interesting.
All right,
and here's Boomer retaining her individuality. Once again, she's not going to give that up. She'll vote against her number just because. I don't think she cares one way or the other. I think she's just like, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah, you see that not even the models, but the individual examples of models that have spent more and more time among the human fleet are those that are more developed in their personalities and therefore more prone to, so it's the term I'm looking for, anomalies in how they behave.
Yeah.
Like kind of feeds into the system of the Cylon unit as a whole.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
And Dave Bob says, you have to remember they were based on humans. It's inevitable. Yeah, and it's kind of crazy, Dave Bob, how, it kind of goes full circle. Like their programming keeps evolving. And it's just like, damn, that is like pretty damn human.
Uh-huh. Even though they claim they're above us and they're better than us, then they're more perfect. Nah, you are us. Sorry.
Can you guys vamp for a second? I got to step away.
Sure. Oh, Shane Nolan, I love Baltar and Baltar. That is a great scene.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
First
it really
time I
is.
saw it, I was like, what? Baltar, where's 6?
Glad BSG, Godzillionaire says, glad BSG came out in the early 2000s, or else I'm sure we could have had one of the Cylons give a cringe, okay, boomer comment. And Godzillionaire, you're not wrong about that. And I'm so glad that as kind of politically charged that this show was for the times, they still had that air. And I go back to the fact, don't forget, folks, we had the writing team primarily from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And one of the things you can remember about Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and I've made this point plenty of times, is that the writing that they did, if you guys go back and do a rewatch of the Deep Space Nine episodes, that show was pretty fairly politically charged to a degree as well. But the thing that DS9 did so well was they brought up sensitive issues, social issues, political issues, but they always put the audience first and let you come to your conclusion about it. It's so different than viewing things in a 2021 sense when we're, beaten about the extremities by nothing, by one agenda. And if you're less than a person if you don't accept the agenda that this particular piece of entertainment is trying to give you, because that's how they write it, because it's very activist writing. But the difference is, back then, in the early 2000s, in Galactica's heyday, that particular writing team knew how to get their points across without, browbeating you with ideology one way or the other. And that's what's so beautiful about it.
Yeah, they trusted in the intelligence of the audience to come to their own conclusions, and they took those themes and ideas and they structured them sensibly into the show. They found a way to incorporate them into what was happening with the characters on the show, not just throwing them in there to say, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
And 2020 politics or whatever.
And Shane Nolan brings up a great point about Deep Space Nine in The Pale Moonlight. The Cisco saying, I can live with it, and trying to convince himself. And he looks dead in the camera, and it's chilling because, he's basically asking the audience to decide. And he's right about that. And again, that's what these writers were so good at. And Godzillionaire said, for some of the apologists of modern entertainment now, aka the new fans that claim that they're uber into this stuff, but really they're not. But they claim that they're uber into this stuff, and they always come and say, Star Trek never had a strong black lead before Mikey Spock. And guess what? You didn't watch Deep Space Nine, did you? Because Avery Brooks is the GOAT, man.
Oh, it's my favorite captain.
So good. Same here. But
I even have a cat named after Cisco. That's how much I love that character. I won't name my cats after anyone unless I adore the characters.
but the thing is, we as Galactica fans, we benefited from the outstanding showrunner and writing team that put together this series. So you had bangers and bangers and bangers of episodes that were just killer because these people knew how to write in the right way.
Yes.
And that was awesome. And Dave Bob says all of our fallibility is indicative in BSG. And yeah, exactly right about that, Dave Bob.
Yep. You see the good and the bad in these people and their frailties, and in both the Cylons and the humans. But you embrace it all because it's so well structured and so well written and brilliantly acted too. I mean, it's the perfect marriage. It really is.
Oh yeah, Darius. Spot on, bro. But see, the modern fan, they'll argue till they're blue in the face that it was always through their lens. Everything that we always had, even the stuff we grew up on, was through their lens, and which we know better because we know that's a bunch of hooey. But they convince themselves, and they always try to lord over us and convince us that these shows were always for them and through their lens, and it's just it's laughable because the arguments they make are just so lame.
Yeah, and if you watch a show and you only watch it through a political lens, you are going to miss everything about it. You're going to miss so much that was intended and that was written, and just, yeah.
And Zach's
Anyway, little rabbit trail.
Yeah, hail Zach's. Zach's makes a great point here. If it was through their lens, nobody would be talking about it years later. Exactly correct.
Great
All right.
point.
Zach, if you want to continue, sir.
Very well. Rosalind and Adama talk to one another in his quarters, both unsure what to make of Thrace or what to do with her. Adama wonders if maybe she's telling the truth, which Rosalind can't believe hearing from him, since he always derided beliefs in supernatural events. When the Admiral mentions her shooting at Kara, she claims that the Deloxin messed with her aim, but Adama believes it was doubt. Rosalind keeps insisting that Starbuck can't be trusted, and thinks that Adama is ready to believe her because he can't take any more loss around it. She claims that he's afraid to live alone, to which he retorts that she may be afraid to die that way, and that her death would be meaningless. After Adama leaves, Rosalind notices that her hair is beginning to fall out and breaks down in tears. Lee visits Kara in the brig, telling her of his nomination to a vacant quorum seat by Tom Zarek. Lee claims he's always had trouble saying no, especially to Kara. After wishing each other luck on their respective journeys, the star-crossed lovers share a passionate kiss. Later, taking one last look around the squadron ready room, Lee reminisces on his past life. As Athena escorts him to the flight deck, he's greeted by an assembly of his peers in dress uniform. Colonel Ty announces the recognition of his honorable, loyal, and faithful service, and they salute his passage in unison. As he fights back tears and returns the salute, jovial applause plays him out. He embraces his wife Dee with loving goodbyes, and jokingly tells her that she wound up with the house.
That was emotional, dude.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that was a very, very, very touching scene.
Yeah, it was.
Yes,
I really loved how they did that, and the Lee Kara shipper in me was very satisfied when they had their goodbye. I was like, you tell her, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say one thing. Even Ty, who's normally not for pomp and circumstance like this, has all of the respect in the world and is the one conducting, this mock ceremony. He's the one that has all of the poise and the responsibility to bestow this honor upon Lee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, back to Rosalind and Adama's conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how can Rosalind challenge basically the existence of Starbuck's return being a miracle when belief in all of her visions and her follow through requires that same kind of faith?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, and I think it's with believers in any religion or any spiritual path. They say they believe, they say they have faith, blah, 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 until the rubber meets the road.
Mm-hmm.
And that one time when their faith is truly tested and they have to put it all into whatever it is that they're presented with, they say, well, no. All these other miracles and things involved me, but now here's something outside of me that challenges me where I really need to put my faith to the test, and that's not a miracle.
Right.
My things were miracles,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not a miracle.
And I think that's much to Adama's point in the conversation, is that he's pointing out to her that, like, you're clutching to the visions and the things that you've accomplished so far, and you're holding on to it so dearly because you're afraid that if you let it go, your life and your death would be meaningless, that you wouldn't be this dying leader the prophecy foretold of, and it might be blinding her to the next step, which could be Kara.
Yeah. And
you
she's
know.
kind of letting her ego get in the way, and she may not even realize it because all the miracles were revolving around her.
I
And
do
now
want
there's
to
someone else.
take the opportunity to catch up on the chat real quick, guys. Cody
Okay.
Pan says, "I miss you most of all, Scarecrow." Yeah, dude, that's the feels I kind of had when when Lee and Carol were having their goodbye. It was just a good moment, and I was like, when you have that woman you love like that, whether it's on the DL and you feel like you can't show it or whatever, just go for it, man. Throw your arms around her, tell her how much she means to you, and give her that darn kiss. Let her know. And then
Yeah.
what was so great about that moment. And Darius says, I like how human and relatable the struggles in BSG are. Yeah, because
Oh,
Darius, in any good writing, if you don't have a character with real struggles, if you can't relate to them, your your story or your screenplay, whatever it happens to be, it's going to be dead on arrival if people can't relate, because that's what's so paramount to good writing. And
yeah.
that was one of the great things about this show. Dave Bob, and I so can relate with this comment. He said, I will admit I was incensed when they made Starbuck female in the beginning. I was convinced in the first episode that maybe I was wrong. Who doesn't love Katie Sackhoff? And he's right, because I clearly remember back at that time, and a lot of you guys, back when the original mini came on, you guys watched it back in the original showing of the mini. And if you can take a journey back with me for a moment to the old sci-fi.com forums before it was sci-fi.com with stupid Y's.
Yeah.
The biggest thing on the forum was, the TOS Galactica fans like saying, "Oh, I don't buy it. Starbuck is female, blah 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 blah." If people didn't understand how to how to deal with that, and then, bam, when the show got the green light, and we get to when it premiered in 04, and that first episode, man, you watch 33, and it's just like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm down. I'm down. And I totally get Dave Bob's journey on that, because I felt the same way. I was a TOS Galactica guy. I mean, to me, at that time, there was no BSG that didn't have Richard Hatch and Dirk Benedict. I mean, it was that to me. And then bam, I watched the mini, and the mini is what won me over. But to a lot of people, it was watching 33 that won them over. And hey, that was the moment that we knew, and that was awesome. And Darius, same way. Zach said, if it's not their idea, it's not a miracle. Speaking of the woke crowd, when they talk about modern entertainment. Yeah, and what's funny is, if you think about it, guys, how they love to have that recency bias and say, that, okay, in there's no like female representation, or there's no black representation, or there's no this until Mikey Spock, or until Rey in Star Wars, or until this character. But they purposely have that recency bias. But really, if you look back at just quality things like this, you can understand like just the true stupidity of that argument. Yeah, BD, you're right about that, by the way, and yeah, we're gonna get into that, and we can explore that once we go back. And for those of you that don't know, when we actually the the way that we have our itinerary laid out, we're going to finish obviously season 4 and finish this series. We're going to watch the sort of mini movie from the Cylon perspective, The Plan. And then when we finish up with The Plan, we're going to go through and we're going to start on the original series. And we're going to go through and watch Lauren Green and Richard Hatch and Dirk Benedict. And, so many of you guys that are in the chat now, you guys will have a treat with that as well. So, yeah. So I just wanted to let you know what's coming up in the future. So you guys got some stuff to look forward to for sure, because we're looking forward to it ourselves. Zach says Starbuck is a real actor played by, or a real character played by a charismatic and relatable actor. They didn't do a simple swap, and they didn't ruin other characters to raise her up. Yes, very organic, Zach, and I appreciated that about it. And it was 33/Water that got me into the whole mythos of BSG, says Ruth Korean. But it wasn't till a show like Homeland. It wasn't until season 2 when Saul sneaks out a USB drive in a diplomat case. Yeah. And I guess the actual time that people really got into it, it varies, but it usually, for most people, it was around either the miniseries or season 1. Our buddy Just a Normie Scott, and hey, old Just a Normie, he said, "I loved Starbuck. Katie is what sold me on the show." And Kogi Pan, great to see you, my friend. Kogi Pan, great supporter, and one of our favorite folks from the Bounding into Comics chats as well. So great to see you, my friend. All right. Zach, I like your comment there, Zach. Yeah, Drew said he wasn't going to be chatty tonight. I know. But I got so excited, man.
Good. So there are 4 paragraphs left. Would you like me to stop halfway or read through?
Let's go through it and we'll unpack it, unless there's as the way the events fall, if it's better to unpack it, after to split it up in 2 and 2. Use your best judgment, sir.
Back in the base star, gruesome mechanical surgery plays out as the Model 4s conduct the lobotomies on the Raiders. In one last attempt, the 6 tries to convince the others to change their minds. When she's unsuccessful, a pair of Centurions enter the room and draw weapons. Elsewhere, in the rooms used by Baltar's cult, he and Tori are sleeping together, but Foster's eyes are full of tears. She wonders aloud if her abundance of emotion is proof that she's not a Cylon, jokingly. But Baltar tells her that humans aren't the only ones capable of suffering, and that Cylons have feelings too. Gaius finally manages to confess to believing genuinely in the one God, and Tori is moved in such a way that, despite her initial revulsion at the idea, she seems to relish their lovemaking. After the Centurions fail to heed Cavil's orders, the 6 reveals that a key component to inhibiting their higher functions, the telencephalic inhibitors, have been removed, giving the Centurions the gift of reason. Having learned what happened to the Raiders, Centurions make the choice and gun down the others. In the closing scenes of the episode, the fleet executes another jump, to Starbuck's great physical distress, writhing in pain on the floor of her cell. Hilo and Sergeant Matthias escort Kara from the brig to the hangar deck, where Admiral Adama is waiting. Thinking she's about to be spaced, she's instead surprised to be released. Adama gifts her the Demetrius, a recently salvaged sewage recycling ship, and a crew, handpicked by Hilo and Adama, to try to find Earth. Adama is still unsure if this is the right decision, but believes in Roslin, and is tired of losing and turning back from things he believes in. And there we close.
Wow, lot to unpack here. But I'll tell you what, God, two great clips stand out to me. And by the way, I love that they have a lot of these good clips on the I think BSG itself has a YouTube channel because they have clips, and we got the handy clip we used a couple episodes ago to kind of drive home the point about the Cylon reveal, but they have the clip about lobotomizing the Raiders, and man, Trisha Helfer, she just delivers that so convincingly, where she's like, Cabell, we made some changes of our own. You see, the Centurion. She said, "You see, the Centurions didn't like the Raiders being lobotomized."
She's so good. And in my notes, I put Cabell is shitting a brick.
Oh God, the look on his face, and the look on his face was priceless. You did what?
Yes.
and then the Centurions just like gun them all down, and it was great. Yeah, so like but that's where the Cylon Civil War begins, and what a friggin' way to kick it off. I mean, it was just like damn. And then God, you go to that scene, where they do like that shot with the camera where it starts off distant and then zooms into Kara, and she's like, "We're going the wrong way," and when they pull her out of her cell and take her down there, just the shift in tone when Adama essentially green lights the black op and says, go and do this. Like, because you could tell he didn't tell his old lady. So he's like, on the sly, go do this. And yeah. And it's just awesome to see that, okay, Adama is starting to, oh God, I don't know how to, I'm trying to find a nice way of putting this. It's to say, like, he took his balls out of her purse, but he took his balls out of her purse.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, he kind of did.
and so that's good.
He took his command back.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
there you go.
that's elegant. I like that.
Yeah. There you go, Zach. And hail, Lady Mist. Great to see you, Lady Mist.
Lady Mist.
You're so wonderful, and thank you for being here, my friend. Hail to Scott Jennings of Dick's Division. Man, great to see you. Hashtag Dick's Division, and don't forget, folks. After the stream, I will we'll see how things go tonight. My hope is that I could go over and jump in and join those guys over on Thursday Night Throwdown, but we'll see, how things are going. Because, like I said, I am kind of like a stressed, exhausted mess. So we'll see. I'll play it by ear, but that is the plan, at least initially, right now. So
it might be what you need, Drew.
So, but
you seem to be better now.
But do check out Thursday Night Throwdown on Comics channel after it's about an hour or so after our show. So, all right. Do you guys want to finish getting to some comments from the chat here, and then we'll kind of put a bow on this one. So,
sure. I like Tony's comment at 10 after.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me pull that up here. Crazy Starbuck always makes me uncomfortable, probably because she plays it off so well. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that scene where she's pleading with Adama in her cell, and her face and her voice and her mannerisms are so 180 degrees out from anything else she's had this entire show.
Yes.
Completely different character.
Yeah, absolutely. And Shane Nolan says, my only issue was the crew they send with Kara. Like Hilo as her XO, even though he outranked her, and Gata is essential on Galactica. Yeah, well, that's one of the cases where Shane, we could say, Gata has to go because it's in the script. because as of what happens later in the season, they have to plant those seeds with Gata, so that's why he had to go.
And it's funny you mentioned that, because I have actually in my Blu-ray collection and my download Blu-ray collection the collected webisodes. The first of which
I remember the webisodes
after that incident, because he's on his his fake leg.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Lady Miss, oh man, I hope everything's okay, Lady Miss. Yeah, I don't blame you. You better check on that, because you don't want your house to go up in smoke. Yeah,
it's not
good.
With.
Did anyone here watch Caprica? I couldn't do it. I tried to watch it, Zach, and I watched the first season, and it just, I
couldn't get into it either.
Yeah.
I wanted so desperately to love it. But it just, I don't know.
The characters in that show, to me, they didn't resonate with you and hit you the way. They didn't have the same magic.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
And that was the problem. Nelson Gentleman said Caprica was booty. Yeah, and I would describe it the same way. Nelson is very middle of the road. And some people enjoyed it. Shane, I'm not going to knock you for enjoying it. The same thing with Normie. It's just one of those things where, it did kind of go off the rails. To me, the characters just didn't resonate with me. I liked the backstory, and there was enough effort in that, but the characters were very hit and miss. And exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Dave Bob says, I watch everything. It'll give context. And it did give some context. Now, there were some cool things in Caprica, like when they showed like Greystone Industries and the Centurions being built and whatever, because eventually it led up to, very cautionary tale. It's kind of like what we're going through now with letting technology get as crazy as it is. My theory is Greystone is the original hybrid in Razor. Ooh, I like that, Shane. Nelson Gentleman said, brightest day. Hail, good sir. Nice uniform. He's digging the uniform.
Oh, God. I am so excited for Dragon Con with the Battlestar Galactica reunion.
Nice.
Nearly everybody is going to be there.
Awesome.
Oh, I wish I could be there.
Yeah. Zach says, exact same feeling on Caprica. It was a chore, and I wanted to like it. Yeah. And that's the thing about Caprica. It's one of those things you're never going to get the consensus that you did on Galactica. And Parrothead is asking if Mom is back. Unfortunately, no, she's not, brother. She's still in the hospital. The hope is that she will be out on Saturday, and I'm fingers crossed that happens. Because there's some things right now going on. It's just very concerning. Justin Normie says, I love Blood and Chrome. Blood and Chrome had its faults, but I enjoyed Blood and Chrome largely more than I disliked it. Although it was, you can tell that it was done on much, much less of a budget, because at the time that was machinima. So, and it didn't get the budget it deserved, really, but it was really cool. I enjoyed Blood and Chrome. All right, guys, what did we think of the episode? I thought overall this was a pretty interesting episode. I it had some good intrigue between the characters. I wouldn't call it so much action based, but Lee's retirement and some of the other stuff obviously kind of kicked up the score a notch for me. I kind of gave this like a 7.5. That's
Okay.
where I put it, because I'm more just of a very action sequence type of person, and this was more character intrigue driven than it was action. So I'll give it 7.5. Like I said, very solid episode.
Go ahead, Arwen.
The thing I love about this is the way it seamlessly puts everything together, and at the same time you see the Cylons fraying and coming apart. You see the humans starting to build back together. So for me, oh my gosh, the acting alone, excuse me, the acting alone, I want to give it a 9, but I will give it an 8.5 because I'm trying to be a little more selective, because otherwise I would just give everything a 9. Everything's a 9. Everything's a 9. But I will give it an 8.5, and I loved the episode. So
Okay.
to you, Zach.
So that's curious then, because I'm going to give this at least a 9, and I am trying to search my brain for reasons not to give it a full 10.
Okay.
The number of emotional scenes we get, the acting quality, the number of things that this episode sets up in 40 minutes is staggering. The rebellion, the black op that you called it, the separation between Rosalind and Adama that starts there, Lee's career, the Baltar and Tori thing. There's so many things that get set up in so many scenes, and it doesn't feel cramped. Like, it didn't feel like they crammed it in there.
No, you're right. It was paced better for sure. There wasn't a whole bunch of jumping around, and you convinced me, Zach. You gave a convincing reason why you gave it the score you did, so it's making me up my score. I'll give it an 8.
Oh, what the hell? I'm going to give it a 9. That made me doubt myself. I was trying to, because I was, thinking about it. I'm like, I always give high scores, but I can't help it. I love it.
Because you are right
I'm
about
going with the 9.
Based on the setups and the good pacing, I'll raise it up half a point and go to 8 on this.
So I was going to say that gives us an average score of 8.5 between the three of us. If you kept an 8.5 Arwen, which was perfectly fine.
There we go.
Average score 8.5. Judgment.
Yay!
Yeah. All right. So basically, I am really excited because there's going to be some cool things that are going to ramp up in this first half of season 4. Much more so, I think, than the back half. Do you agree, Zach? Because the back half kind of, something's missing on the back half.
I think it might just be that there's, and again, I think I pointed to when we were discussing this earlier, there's a sense of urgency, both in the characters and the crew and the audience for this show to get where it needs to go. And at some point of the way, they probably just fumbled that, which is, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
And Dave Bob, you know what, brother? I want to have you, because I've seen you plenty of times on Loki's program when I'm awake in the morning. And man, brother, I got to have you on one of these times as a guest to come on panel with us and break down an episode, because Dude, you are entertaining, and like I said, I'm a fan of you, buddy. So
Me too.
I want to have good old Dave Bob on one of these times. But yeah, with season 4, if you look at it objectively, Rita, hey, you know, it's great to see you, Rita. Appreciate you being here, honey. The thing with season 4, if you look at it objectively, and BD and I have both said this, it is overall probably the weakest. If you take the show just objectively, season 4 is the weakest of the 4. I think probably season 1, season 2 were the strongest.
Mm-hmm.
Season 3 and season 4 were kind of, they didn't have that same gravitas, if you will, as season 1 and season 2, but they weren't terrible by any means. So,
Right.
just to clear that up. But yeah. But yeah, just to holler out the chat, Rita. Yeah, it's great to see you. The thing is, if you haven't been keeping up with my Twitter, I'm going through some rough stuff. My mom's in the hospital right now. Things ain't great, but doing what I can to make it through, and my mom's fighting, so that's good. But yeah, notifications are kind of hit and miss for everybody for some reason. I know even if you're subbed, people are having a hard time getting notifications. But all right, I'll go around and we'll let everybody kind of let you know what they got going on. I'll start with BD and let him explain what's happening with his channel and where you can find him. And then we will let Arwen say a few words, and then I will outro myself, and we will close up shop for the evening. So, all right, BD, go ahead and tell folks about what's going on.
Thank you, Drew. Hi, everyone. I'm Brightest Day. This is going to be an interesting week for me. Tomorrow, I will be on Lorena Creole's lunch table at noon Eastern. And then Saturday, I will continue what is now my primary piece of content on my channel, which is a segment called Booked with Brightest Day, where I do live reads of classic sci-fi novels and new sci-fi novels. Monday, I am finishing the last couple of sessions for the Battlestar Galactica miniseries novelization. Wednesday, I am reading Frank Herbert's Dune. And Saturday, I will be reading a book by Kai MFS, a fellow YouTuber, named Space Crime Domino. So please tune in for that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, buddy. And again, I appreciate you always, being there and being such a good friend. All right. Let's move our favorite lady on in here and let Arwen say what's going on with her.
Well, on Sundays at 5:30 Eastern Time, I am co-hosting with Firefly MK1 and Colin P. Smith on Fan Fantasy Story Ideas, FFSI. That's usually every Sunday. And some people have asked me recently about when are you going to get stuff on your channel? Well, I plan, if everything works out according to plan, I do plan on starting to stream around the middle of September. So I will keep you guys posted on that. And of course, you can find me here on Thursday nights with my boys.
Oh, well, thank you, dear. I appreciate you as well. You know that.
Well, I love y'all. I do.
And listen, folks, I just want to say again, thank you so much for your support, your friendship, just being there for me. And, you know, I can't tell you just doing this tonight how much it really does help because you know the last 48 hours or so, well, especially when the night that I had to call the ambulance to come get mom and everything. I've been a super stressed, absolute just big ball of nerves and mess, and to be here with the folks I love that I call friends. It means the world to me. It really does mean the world to me, and thank you so much. You know, just to reiterate, I'm not monetized or nothing. This channel isn't monetized. If you do want to support the channel in that manner, it's never required, but you can put !tip. That brings you up a link, and you can. That's our way of doing super chats. Here, if you use that Stream Elements link right there, that handy dandy thing, whether your favorite creators, if they're not monetized, let them know that Stream Elements is a great tool because what it does is it's not like YouTube where they take 30%. The creator actually gets the tip. So, it's good. It's good. And it does help. So, again, it's never required. Just the fact that you're here, it fills my heart. It makes my heart glad. And that's enough. But, if you care to support the channel in that matter, well, the option is there. Thank you so much for the kind words, Scott and Guy Linda. It's great to see you, my friend. Thank you so much. And Rita, I absolutely adore you, dolls. Thank you for being there. Thank you so much, Rita. I appreciate it. And again, folks, next week, Zach, what is our episode for next week? Because I can't remember what the name of the third one was.
Wow. So I will not be here next Thursday. I will be in Atlanta.
Yeah, you'll be at Dragon Con. But,
so then let me look up what the next episode is.
And me and Arwen will hold it down for you.
If you need me to do the summary, I can do the summary for you. I can have it ready before I leave. Just let me know.
Oh yeah. Well, I've got that. Don't forget, brother. I've got the access to the other summary. So we're golden. You're good. Just to have a good time at Dragon Con and get good pictures.
Episode 3 is entitled "The Ties That Bind."
All right. So we will be here next week, folks. You can guarantee that I'll be here. Arwen will be here. Mm-hmm. Zach will be at Dragon Con, but we will, I'm sure, get some really cool pictures and stuff from him when he gets back from his trip to Dragon Con.
I'm paying $400 to have a picture with everybody.
Yeah.
I'm getting that picture.
Yes.
Dave Bob, hit me up on Twitter, Dave Bob. Shoot me a follow, and dude, maybe next week could be your big debut. You can step in and sub for the man here for BD. So
Rooster in the house.
So reach out, my friend. All right. Thank you so much, Lady Misty. Didn't have to do that, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. Because everything that I do get, folks, by the way, if you do happen to toss a tip to the channel, it all goes back into the channel, or either, into getting some things that mom needs, or to, put food on the table. So it does go to a good cause. So, just to let you know, thank you so much again. And thank you for your presence tonight, everyone. We will see you back here for sure next Thursday, even if it's minus our favorite flight instructor, Zach. So take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We love you. And good night. So say we all.
So say we all.
So say we all.
Ooh.